Now that the dust has started to settle for The Reckoning, I thought it was only fair to bring in Stanley557 to talk about the good and the bad and the ugly regarding this final DLC map for Black Ops 6. We're also going to touch on the game as a whole and what we would like to see for Black Ops 7 in the future. We also rank our favorite Black Ops 6 Zombies maps, but we'll do that towards the end. See you in there.
Hello there, fellow zombie slayers.
You kind of remind me of Milo when you do that. Like you hit it the same every time.
Every time.
You've got it down. You definitely got it down.
No joke, I practiced it. Like there were times where like I would sit there and just like try and see if I could do it the same.
That makes sense. No, I like that. Shows your dedication.
Yeah.
Shows your dedication.
My dedication to sounding like I'm 3 years old.
No.
There's this like really funny American Idol clip where like the guy's like, "How old are you?" And then, you know, the kid's like, "I'm 4 years old." And the guy's supposed to be like, "You're 4 years old? You're the youngest person on American Idol ever." But someone's edited it, so it's just the guy going, "You're the youngest ever." And it's the funniest thing to me. It's just like stupid shit that makes me laugh.
I love a classic meme. They're always good. They're always good. But
why'd you say it like that? That's so old right there. I love it.
I don't know because I don't know the meme, dude. I don't know the meme. I've never seen it. And I was thinking about bringing up another one, but then I was like, do I really want to go back and forth of talking about memes and not showing them? And then I was like, if I show them, I'm going to have to edit it in there. And that's just going to be...
It's just
I know, dude.
You said it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That was so funny to me.
That's another classic meme right there.
It is. Afterlife being
we're very meta right now.
Yeah, that's true, dude.
I'm sorry my boomer leaked out all over the place. I can't help it sometimes.
You leak all the time, dude.
I do. I'm very leaky. Well, the reason that I wanted to have you on is because people always request you to come on, but you've been on, so I always think that's funny. But
yeah,
then,
I mean, like literally, yeah.
But then the other part is I just wanted to talk. I thought you would be the perfect person to talk to because, you know, we're buds, but also you know so much about the storyline and, you know, I want to talk about BO6, right? And like getting a lot of guests on the podcast, we end up kind of veering into like the whole like classic zombies conversation, which is nothing wrong with going down that trail, but with the actual conclusion of BO6 at the forefront of the conversation, it only makes sense to do a year-end wrap-up. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts and opinions on the game as a whole. And we can dive into the future of BO7 if we want to, but then also about the Reckoning itself. So you can just start wherever you want and we'll follow your lead.
So real quick, I guess where we can start is where last time we were speaking, it was during the Tomb on my channel.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the fact that it's like, well, you know, the Tomb doesn't seem like it's a big DLC map. And it would be really funny if it was just like, that was one of their core DLCs, feels more survival map-esque. And we can come back at the end of the year and talk about that. Well, it's the end of the year and the Tomb is basically rated the same as Ancient Evil in terms of quality content releases.
It sure is.
So that's at least part of,
top number one map of all time.
Yeah, it's funny. Like someone asked me something like, "Hey, what's your favorite and least favorite map?" And I said the Tomb is my least favorite. And I got some flack for it. And it's like sure, Liberty Falls could be up there, but I think the Tomb just had more going for it than Liberty Falls. Like it's hard to say that map is as like rated as high as the Tomb.
The Tomb is weird too because we started off so strong with launch, and I'm not a big Citadel. I think I gave Citadel more flack than I should have at launch, but or at its launch, but we had like a pretty solid kind of little thing going, and the Tomb really took the wind out of everybody's sails. And I'm trying to think like, let's say Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4. I know it's not the same value, but let's just say like we had one kind of bad map out of the whole bunch. It kind of makes me think like, are we being a little bit too hard on BO6 for maybe the Tomb being underwhelming? Do you think we are, or is it fair to say it kind of stunted the entire flow of the game and then they never really recovered? Yeah. Like how do you feel about it overall?
There's so much that like I've seen people talk about that stunted the game. Like you've got the SAM AI stuff, you've got the AI stuff in general in the game. You've got all these different issues with like bundles and how they release content. Then you have stuff like the Scarlet skin. And
that was I
think all that
I hated that so much.
I know. I wear it every game. It's just like that's the way that it compounds.
Yeah.
And And like I don't think it was just the tomb, because you think about like like every game has that map, Zetsubo, Alpha Omega, Shangri-La, like maps that are like super underwhelming, or at least like they're not as like easily pick up and playable as like other experiences on the game. So I don't think the tomb gets like obviously it's a whole different discussion with the tomb, but like every game has that one map where you're just like, this one is just not it. It has its fans, but I think that like as it connects with people, that one was the one where like it just wasn't clicking. And I think it does the most wrong out of the 3 examples that I brought up.
It also doesn't feel like a Treyarch map. I know that's not a real thing. Yeah, like it's hard to
go into that. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to quantify feelings, right? Like there's like when I was talking to Tim Hansen yesterday, we were talking about certain stuff, and it's just like we were saying things like it has no soul, or it's like it has no this, or it's no that, but they're just feelings, right? And it's like, how do you, because Black Ops 6 is objectively fine. It's a well-made product, but it just feels like it's missing this special emotional ingredient that I have a really hard time wrapping my words around. But the tomb itself, like, when I remember loading in and I'm like, the starting room is weird. Going through the actual tunnels and the caverns doesn't really feel like something I've seen Treyarch do, which is okay. They're allowed to obviously try new stuff. But it felt very mangled together. And there's an element, and Citadel suffers from this too. There's this element of generic art design with these maps. Shattered Veil, and even though Reckoning I have problems with its atmosphere, at least it feels like a Zombies map. At least it has a more original aesthetic than the tomb in parts of Citadel. I just don't understand like what happened. Like post Liberty Falls, there's this little pocket in the middle of BO6 that just sucks. And I don't know where it came from.
The best way I can describe is that like the tomb feels so much like a custom map. It feels like a really souped up custom map.
Yeah.
It's taking a lot of previous elements. It's trying to use different ideas. Like it feels like a BO3 custom map where the map's like, there's one that came out recently on FPS Psycho. He talked about it. It's this like sequel to Ancient Evil. And it's like, what follows up after that. And the Wonder Weapon is the Crystal Axe, but it's green. It's like, the Honor of Gaia or something like that. It takes place in a very Greek-like setting, so it feels very similar to Ancient Evil. It shares a lot of ideas, set pieces, and all that. But then like you go to Treyarch and it's like, the tomb feels like it's parts of Origins, parts of Citadel, parts of other maps. And it's like, what are we doing here? It doesn't feel normal. And none of it feels cohesive either. All of the intel states how like close quarters and like confusing and catacomby the map is, but you go through it and it's a literal circle. It's impossible to get lost in. Like half the intel cruxes on the fact that like Potts gets lost, and then then he dies and becomes a zombie due to the Sentinel artifact infecting him. But I don't know, like how'd you get lost? It's a 30-second walk up some stairs and you're back up top. I don't know. But we're not really here to talk about the tomb. I mean, that's part of the conversation. But anyways, weird middle spot. It doesn't really feel like a Treyarch map. It feels very different. And it feels like they were trying to capture the success of Liberty Falls and trying to juice it up so that it feels special, but then none of it really clicks together. It feels like 4 different people had 4 different main ideas on how they want it to go. And no one's communicating with each other because this is modern Call of Duty. So most likely it was like, Shanghai people were doing this idea.
Sure.
The Treyarch people were doing this idea. The Polish people were doing this cutscene. So
I like their takes on small maps though. Like I like how they all have quests and boss fights and stuff.
Yes. Like that stuff is really well done. And I like that it feels like that you can do more on it. Like I really like the Sentinel Artifact boss fight. I think that's really cool.
I do too. I love that fight.
I think it gets a lot of flack. I think it's unique. It feels like it's not just like big gooey monster. It's like, let's try something different. You're locked in. It's, it's a slow burn, but once it gets going in the halfway point, you're dodging lasers. You have to avoid very, very lethal special enemies. You have to duck under stuff. You have to hide behind in the back section. You have to have the team coordinate so that the Sentinel artifact comes out. You're all ready to shoot it, or else it'll reset the phase.
Yeah.
You can't like damage it. It's not like it has to be killed with a certain amount of damage thresholds. It's cool.
Yeah, there's actual sequences. It's funny kind of looking back at it because I know everybody wanted it nerfed, but when you think about the fight without double tap, it's like, oh yeah, that definitely needs to be nerfed. But when double tap joined the arsenal of perks, I bet you the boss fight would have been a lot more balanced. Because I was playing it the
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
day and I was like cruising through it with double tap,
Yep.
and I was like, this changes the entire meta of the
The game.
fight. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
game
Well,
itself.
I like it like that. Like I really enjoy the fight where it's like whatchamacallit. Like I think that I'm glad they balanced it. I think getting stun locked and like you can't move.
The
That's what's
stun
wrong with
was heavy.
Richtofen.
Yeah.
Is that like you get stun locked. I think everything else about the boss fight's great. Like the fact that the special enemies two shot you if you're not careful, but they only stun you for a second so that you, as long as you're keeping your distance, you're fine. And all of them are melee oriented enemies besides the amalgam.
Yeah.
So that you know, so that makes sense. That's balanced. Whereas Richtofen, he's firing the runner off at you, and he can do it from anywhere on the map that he can. He two shots you as long as he has line of sight, or three shots you.
Your PTSD. Both of our PTSDs.
Both of our PTSDs. Yeah.
Let's save the Richtofen fight for just a little bit. But I do want to ask you, and then we can get into the reckoning and talk about the overall journey of the game and stuff. But like, there was this one point when I was going up the elevator, and sorry for people who are going to watch another podcast. I literally just said this thing the other day, but I'm going to say it now so Stanley can hear it. But I was going up the elevator for the fight. Doesn't matter which one you go up. If you take Sam or Richtofen, doesn't matter which side. And there's this scene where I see all the Origins pillars. I see a Sentinel artifact in front of me. And then I see a Dark Ether Gorg Effects pistol in my hand. And I'm just looking at all these things and I'm like, dude, this story has no direction. I'm not mad that there's Origin stuff. I'm not mad that there's Sentinel artifact stuff with the chaos. I'm not even mad that there's a Dark Ether pistol. I like all of these elements. But when you mix it together, it's like mixing spaghetti and a bowl of Cheerios and then, I don't know, some other, let's see, what else do I have in my kitchen? Nothing that I can get off the top of my head. Whatever. It's just like mixing a bunch of great foods together that like don't belong together. I'm just, that picture, that when I'm going up that elevator, I feel like it encapsulates Zombies so well. Of you need to understand your final destination in order to get there, you know? And without that kind of pointed direction for the mode, it makes all the story stuff lack that cohesion. And I'm wondering if you feel the same way. And I'm also wondering, like, am I missing something from the intel? Like, what am I not seeing here?
You're not. We talked about this, I think, either on the Tomb or did we talk during Citadel? I don't even remember.
Well, we talk all the time.
I think that was our. That's true. We brought up the point being that like the game is lacking cohesion. It feels like all these different story elements are like a Jenga tower, and you have chaos, Dark Ether, previous Ether storyline stuff. Yeah, we did talk about this, and we predicted it all the way back in Citadel, and we were hoping that was a one-off thing. But then you get to the Reckoning, and it feels like they just double down on it, triple down on it, with all these elements constantly toppling all over each other. And it's needlessly complicated. Like, for example, you have the Sentinel artifact. Sentinel artifact, Alistair Rhodes, all that stuff, Prima Materia. That really didn't need to be there, especially because the unique functions of the Sentinel artifact are never actually used, at least not currently. So you had like the Sentinel artifact could have been replaced by literally anything else.
Yeah.
So the Sentinel artifact being there feels like, well, you know what that is, you the player. So it's like that's enticing to people who know what that is and want it to return, but then nothing is done with it that feels like it's unique to what made it special. The Sentinel artifact is a trial. It's meant to like you only take charge of it if you want it. But now it's all of a sudden a Dark Ether artifact that has like it can think for itself, it can stalk people, it shoots lasers out. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So but no, none of the intel makes that any better.
I haven't actually checked the Reckoning intel. That's something I do need to do.
There's not much of it is really that interesting.
That's, you know, I hate to say I was right, because like I actually would prefer to be wrong about some stuff with Black Ops 6, but in my tier list video that people totally didn't give me shit about at all. Somebody was saying that how dare I like kind of predict what the Reckoning is going to be on the tier list before it comes out, and I gave it a B, and I thought it was just going to be kind of a middle of the pack map, and I think that still stands. I think that's a fair rating for it, because I actually think the gameplay in Reckoning is pretty damn good. I think it's I love the Uberklaus. I think Uberklaus is a good boss. A little aggressive in some instances, but overall a really good boss. The Wonder Weapon took me a while to grasp, but I like it. I think I don't really understand the Panos variant, but we can talk about that, I guess. And overall, I find myself really liking, again, the gameplay aspects of stuff. But and the main quest has some good moments as well. And I'm glad it's on the easier side for replayability, so you can get to those final boss fights quicker. But the atmosphere is just so bland. There's some cool parts to it. I think the starting room is amazing. But to be honest, I hate the dark ether like plants. I know this is such a nitpick. I just think they look so goofy and silly. And they don't really, it's very like aquatic, and it doesn't have this like, it doesn't have this negative kind of evil energy. It just looks very silly, like a Dragon Age Veilguard kind of stuff. And I'm just not really vibing with it. And there's just so many little elements that modern zombies they seem to just swing at a lot of stuff, and they have a lot of misses and a lot of hits, and they clash. And I'm just having a hard time like wrapping my head about how I want to feel about the Reckoning. And I think right now my main feelings towards it are just kind of neutral, which sucks. Yeah. I want to love it.
I would give the Reckoning honestly like a C+, starting back there.
I think that's fair.
And I think that it has like really good gameplay elements, but I also attribute a lot of those good gameplay elements to BO6 having really good gameplay foundations. I think the Uber class is a great addition. I think the map design is really cool. I'm a big fan of segmented maps. I'm a big fan of just like maps where you just constantly transitioning. You're going up elevators, you're taking fast travels. People give Forsaken and Revelations a lot of shit for that. That's probably my favorite parts about those maps. But I think it's a lot of fun. Obviously, the story, I think, is where it completely takes a dumpster dive. And it feels like that whatever they set up previously, they didn't really know what they wanted to do with that. It feels like they were just writing it as they went. For example, you have Richtofen and Shattered Veil saying he has a plan, but his plan in the Reckoning is literally just him going, guys, I'm a human. Don't listen to her. There's no plan.
It's so
guys,
stupid.
Come on. Shut up, Sam. You're a meanie. I'm real. You're not. Yeah. And I have two questions real quick. One, why is Sam created? And two, I think it's just to control the Dark Ether. But two, why doesn't Sam use the artifact? There is literally nothing stopping her from using it.
Yeah, she was there before us or whatever.
She's there before us. She's sitting there. She's just waiting. Like, that's it. Like, I feel like what they should have done is when you fix Pack-a-Punch, that like causes some issue in Tower 3 so that she can't activate it. And then like the Easter egg is like you open a teleporter to get to it, but by doing that, it repairs it repairs whatever is needed to fix the artifact, like to power it. So then she can use it. So like by the time you get there, she's about to use it, but you can stop her, and then you get the choice because she's temporarily like disabled or something. Regardless, it's just dumb.
Well, I have a question because you just made me think of something.
Yes.
So she was there ahead of us. We get to the boss fight. Or we get to that part where we activate the Sentinel artifact and we put hers or Richtofen's DNA in it. And I'm just thinking, she had all the wires set up, everything ready to go.
She had everything. Her DNA was already in there. It's not like you bring her the DNA and like, our characters are given the choice.
So why can't she activate it? Can she not like put souls?
Because the game needs to happen and no one wrote a good enough reason for why. That's the disingenuous answer.
Okay.
That's probably the most realistic.
Yeah. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt because
I agree and I want to, but there's really no reason to give them the benefit of the doubt in that scenario. It's like no one wrote a reason why she can't. That's just
I think we need to give I don't know who it is, but Kevin Drew, maybe. I want to give them a little bit of credit because for the first time, well, I'd say Shattered Veil does a good job of this too, but they actually really tried to merge the gameplay with the story. And like we see that cool, the Wonder Weapon with the Forsaken and extracting Panos's or Blanchard's life essence.
That's not needed for the egg, by the way. Blanchard and Panos.
No, I know. I'm just saying like storyline, like Ludo narrative shit, like just like gameplay and story, like merging it together. I think they really tried to make it cool, and it is cool, but it's meaningless.
Yep. Go ahead.
And so I can't. When Panos dies, I'm like, oh, all right. Like, why was he even here? I still don't understand.
Because like that's what I don't like too. Blanchard and Panos. Let's put a pin in that real quick because like they're both there. They both know Richtofen, and neither of them makes an appeal towards Richtofen. They're in their own world. The only people they're talking to are like Weaver and the gang. Like you think Richtofen would be like, oh, that's John Blanchard, one of my, security chiefs. I trust him with my life. And then Panos speaks, Pericles Panos. He's the one who invented the LTG. I trust him with my life as well. What are you two gentlemen doing here? Director, you can't listen to Rick. You can't listen to Panos. He locked the strike team in the dark ether. He would never do that. Stuff like that.
I love your accent. It's good.
They're all terrible. But it's like, why aren't they speaking to each other? Like, that's like
Yeah.
They're both workers of the director. Panos is like, or Blanchard's like, I need to protect the director when you're killing him. And then when you defeat Panos, he's just like, good job, guys. You defeated Panos. That's it.
I mean,
and then you start.
Just,
I'll talk about
no. It just makes no sense for like, I'm thinking about Liberty Falls, right? And Blanchard coming in and then you fast forward to Reckoning, and you're like, what was any of this even for? I think about Panos like talking to somebody in the dark ether who we still don't know who that is. He subverts our expectations, traps the whatever team in the dark ether. He's like free, but he's now in the dark ether again. Like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, really
so real quick. So in the Panos part of the quest, so this is really confusing because it kind of makes it seem like he's still stuck in the dark ether. So when you're going to catch him, he's going up the elevator. So when you disable the elevator with the Klaus, he gets stuck in like those little like orbs that you are in when you go up the elevator. So that orb that's bouncing around the elevator, that's Panos. He's like in orb form right now, but the elevator doesn't know what to do with him because it's been shut down midway.
Okay. I got it.
The game doesn't do a very good job of that. So he he looks just like as if he's trapped in the dark ether, in Liberty Falls.
Yeah.
So it's kind of confusing. And then he glitches out, and then you suck him up into the Gorg effects.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because if you're playing on co-op and you see your friend go up the elevator, they turn into a ball. So that makes sense.
Yeah, they turn into a ball. Yes. So that's like, it's just not very well conveyed, but it's fine. It's just a bit of misinformation.
Before you go to the Forsaken, can I just ask one other question about Richtofen?
Yep.
Why does Richtofen have a German accent?
Because he was founded in a German orphanage.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Croft took him from a German orphanage.
Okay.
And like after the events of Vanguard in Berlin. So Samantha's part of the BND in Berlin, and then Richtofen is adopted by Croft.
Okay. Because I've seen that comment crop up a few times and on my videos, and I thought it was a good question because he works for the CIA.
So in Citadel, Croft is basically given the opportunity to go work on MK Ultra. So that's their connection to campaign right there, is that because Croft's knowledge of brainwashing and the dark ether, he's able to use that information to work on MK Ultra to mind control people, which is then how you get stuff like Bell in Cold War.
See, that's actually cool. Why can't we?
So that's how they go to
shit?
America. And in America, when he grows up, Richtofen meets Kruger, and Kruger's the one who gives him the opportunity to work at the CIA. Kruger is this all new character who is apparently the crux of the entire story.
Oh my god, yes.
So basically, Mary Richtofen's wife, was the secretary for Kruger. Kruger was illegally smuggling funds and doing work with the French syndicate in Avalon. Mary was going to whistleblow on him, so Kruger gave this information to Sam, who gave this information to Weaver to take them out in the safe house in Germany.
And it was misinformation.
Weaver thought it was misinformation. Kruger knew exactly what was happening. He wanted to kill Mary and Samuel.
Yes. But it was misinformation to Weaver. Yeah, gotcha.
Yes, Weaver didn't know. Basically, Weaver was told, do not enter the house, kill them. The target is in there. Do not observe the site when they are gone. Leave immediately. So all Weaver knew is, at least in BO6, the context is, he killed a wife and child, and he doesn't know who. And then Shattered Veil, he learns it's Mary and Samuel, Richtofen's wife and son.
I thought he knew.
So basically,
did he not know that?
In the context of Cold War, however, that is the opposite. In my opinion, they never explicitly stated. Sam knew who it was. In Forsaken Intel, she knows the boy was Samuel. But in Cold War, in Firebase Z Intel, or Outbreak Intel, they heavily imply that both Sam and Weaver know who it was. They just don't say it because the mystery is they know, we don't, the audience. When Sam's brought back after a Firebase Z, his exact words are, or Sam's like, you're going to try and save me just like that boy. Don't say that, Sam. That was a difficult situation for both of us. We both didn't know what was happening.
Yeah,
He's
I remember that.
Dead, isn't he? Like, that is very explicitly, I think he knew. And I think it's, I think it's almost dubious to say that he didn't know who that was.
Yeah, I mean,
Not dubious, but wrong to say he didn't know.
I will defend. I'm trying to defend Treyarch. I'm trying to be fair, right? Like,
Yep, absolutely.
We could argue that the stun locked look on his face in the Shattered Veil cutscene was not really about killing his wife and kids, but that Richtofen knew he did, and Richtofen was tricking them the whole time. Like, I guess you could make that argument, but it does kind of feel like he learned about it all in that moment.
Exactly. And I think like that's a problem. I don't want to be disingenuous with it, but it really just feels like someone else came into the writing room and they just didn't know that information, or they interpreted it differently. So they said, okay, Richtofen knows he killed someone. Let's reveal it to be, that's the big reveal of Shattered Veil. But we know it. It's pretty obvious he knows what it is in Cold War, but maybe they're taking that context differently to make their reveal more impactful.
Sure.
But my only issue with it is like that intel, when you talk about it, it kind of takes all agency away from Weaver, because it was someone else's hit, someone who knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And
it makes
removes
it
the guilt from Weaver entirely. Yeah. Like in the original context, Sam and Weaver were working on a mission. They knew what it was and they just thought they were killing their target, but they killed innocent people instead. Very important innocent people to Sam. But
no, it ruins everything that we went through with Weaver throughout the whole game. And to be honest, I think this is a problem with Black Ops 6, not even just story-wise, but like gameplay-wise. Everything is designed, just the entirety of the game, everything is designed to be very safe, removing all consequences, not allowing to push boundaries or anything like that. It's all the way from Weaver not suffering any consequences from his actions because he was lied to, all the way to I can't stack my double points power-ups if I pop a gobble gum and then a double points drops. It's like everything is so fucking safe.
That's so annoying. I wish you could do that.
I know. It's like, why are you not letting me push the bounds and have fun and feel something? Like when you're seeing Dempsey, sorry, I said I wasn't going to do this, but guess I am. When you're seeing Dempsey take his life for in the Ultimus version, you feel this weight. And even though it's kind of unclear everything that's unfolding, we don't really know what's going on with Monty yet. And we understand we have to get the souls, but we're not really sure how deep the storyline goes. The way that they put all that information together, you can feel the somber emotions like radiating from Dempsey, and he's angry with Richtofen one moment, then the next he's unlocked and he's going to be the one that takes his own life, and it's very real and raw all the way up through Blood of the Dead.
And not only that, but it dictates his character going forward. Like same thing with Takio. No matter which storyline you pick, BO3 or BO4, his learning about the Emperor is what affects his entire character going forward. He's a different person after that.
Yeah, like why not when we discover? Well, first of all, why not make a cutscene about Weaver not like learning about this critical information about how he was lied to? Because what if we started seeing him struggle with not only did he kill these people, but he was lied to? But it's like, does that still mean that I have the responsibility? And and then, sorry, this is another nitpick. There's this one point where you're doing the Sam or the Richtofen, or no, sorry, you're fighting Sam, so you're defending Richtofen, and you're going through the levels before you get to the roof. And Weaver's like, I will do anything to restore the mistake that I made. It's like 2 seconds ago, you wanted to like kill Richtofen and never see him again and never work with him and everything to save Sam. And now you flipped on a dime. It's because
so the writing
goofy.
Isn't strong enough to give them an opportunity to feel like there's a real decision in the conversation. Like it should be set up in a way where like the characters are conflicted, who they actually choose. There should be points in the story where you're meant to trust both Richtofen and Sam. And it's like they do it, but in the most like minuscule, safe way possible. You trust the characters based on the moment of like the agency of the other character.
Yeah, man, it's really a shame because the gameplay in Black Ops 6 is very strong, and I would even think the Reckoning is one of the harder maps aside from the boss fight. Just like training around and the Uber Klaus and the Klaus, the Mecha Klauses or whatever that kind of spawn in on the dog rounds. Like it's a good gameplay experience. It's just like I
Yeah,
was
very
saying, it's
strong.
just that Ludo narrative connection is so weak. So let's get into your favorite part, the boss fights.
Oh, yes.
Are
Actually, can
you?
we backtrack real quick and talk about
Oh
the
yeah,
Forsaken
of
before we
course,
go
of
into
course.
that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, go
So
ahead.
Forsaken. I think it's handled in both a good way and a bad way. So the entire time he's making like quips in his like chamber because he's been
Yeah.
stuck in a chamber for 6 years. I think that's silly. Clearly, they want you to like every like character they want you to laugh at in some way. But I think he's not taken seriously enough to feel like he's impactful. Anyways, I actually think it's okay that like he's a mini boss. I think that's a cool use of him. And I like this idea that he takes the immediate opportunity to escape as soon as he can. Like he's been waiting for this for 6 years, and finally a vessel comes in that he can actually use. But
Yeah.
and I like that you defeat him. I think that's cool. He's been stuck in there for 6 years. You know, what else are you gonna do with him? I think it's cool. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, he dies immediately, but I think that's fine. I thought it was a good use of it. Cool mini boss. We want them to do mini bosses. We want them to take unique chances at gameplay, and I feel like that was something I thought was really cool.
Agreed. I agree.
Although something I don't like is that apparently they try and describe it in the story that this is part of the Easter egg thing, I guess. They say from round one that apparently after the events of Forsaken, Sam goes into the Forsaken, not into the Dark Ether, and then she dies fighting the Forsaken. And this is backed up by Richtofen basically saying, oh, Sam accusing him saying you could have let her out, but that would have released the Forsaken. So he basically chose to let her die. And that's just a flat out misread of the Forsaken end cutscene. Where it's like, in that cutscene, Gray says that Sam's in the Dark Ether. The director says Sam is in the Dark Ether. Everything points to Sam going in the Dark Ether, even thematically. The point is that Sam sacrifices herself to cut off the Forsaken from the real world in the same way that Zykov cut off the Dark Ether by giving himself up in D Machine, or before the events of D Machine. That's literally thematically the bookend, is that sacrifices have to be made to close off the Dark Ether. So unless Forsaken, Richtofen, and Sam are all lying, that's a complete misread of that story.
Can I
say that
ask
Samantha died?
Another question? Like kind of two questions, and then just take them how you will. But isn't there a thing in the intel or something that says like Sam was actually like replicated the Forsaken's voice, which is why we're getting all the power ups and shit? So
Yep.
How so wouldn't that indicate she's in the Dark Ether? And then secondly, isn't there a quote from Sam AI towards the end of the Easter egg saying that when she went into the Forsaken, she obliterated herself? So how can all these things happen simultaneously? I don't understand.
Okay, real quick. Samantha, so that's not Samantha reading the power-ups, that's the Sam AI. She's the one who reads the power-ups and summons the zombies. In the same way that in the Victus comics, Ultimus Richtofen is leading the zombies to push the Victus crew around, the Sam AI is using the is able to use the zombies to push the Terminus crew around, Requiem crew and whatnot.
And she's replicating the Forsaken voice and dropping power-ups and shit. Okay.
Yes, and summoning dog rounds. And
that's not the real Sam. That's Sam AI. So that must just
that is Sam
been
AI.
Misunderstanding on day one Easter eggs.
Again, it's confusing though. Like you know, when you have two characters that have the same name, they both have similar power sets, but then the threat of the story in Shattered Veil is if Sam turns into Samantha, she gets full access to the Dark Ether. Even though Sam AI can already control zombies, spawn power-ups, do crazy things. Like,
and also isn't Sam the real Sam dead?
In the story implies this is so confusing. And then the story implies that the real Samantha Maxis is dead. So then Sam's like, "Oh well, I could still be her if you want me to, guys. You just need to let me use the Sentinel artifact."
Well, I guess I think another thing clicked. I mean, I guess Richtofen's family's dead too, so we're using the Sentinel artifact to bring back their flesh. Yeah,
like it just brings back their flesh using the DNA to like, you know.
Which oh my gosh.
I don't think makes any sense because the Sentinel artifact probably wouldn't need that. The whole point is making a wish to it, which even then it's not a genie in a bottle. It's not the Agarthan device. It just holds prima materia. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the whole point is that the device that's connected to is able to manipulate prima materia to your wishes. But the Sentinel artifact is just that's not what its purpose is for. But
yeah, but you need the Origins pillars, obviously, to make it work.
For some reason.
You know, two quick notes and then we can get to the boss fight stuff. They put this is just a fun fact. They won't let you see the zombified version of Richtofen's kid in the tank You can only see
Yes.
the zombified version of the wife. I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, actually, when I was high rounding, I had a glitch where the tank, the back of the tank disappeared, so I could see Samuel for a minute.
Did they finish his model?
I honestly, it was for half a second, and I saw that it showed it. I didn't look at his face, but I know
You'll have to
probably
check your
can.
recording. You'll have to check it.
Yeah, I wasn't recording it, but this was just high round attempt. So speaking of real quick, you asked me about compilation. I delete half my attempts that aren't succeeding, and I don't record my mic anyway, so it would have just been raw gameplay of me dying 21 times.
I would have just loved to see you get as angry as I got. It would have been fun.
I don't even get angry. I just get silent. I'm just like, dude. Like, I just get mad. I'm just like,
that happens to me too. Like, there's a lot of the times where I just kind of sit there and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I literally asked that question, like, what am I doing?
For me, when I finally beat Richtofen last night, I was just like staring at the computer screen with just like the most blank expression ever. I'm like, thank goodness this is done.
I know. I don't even know if I want to do it, to be honest, man.
I wouldn't recommend it. Don't waste your time.
Let's
anyways, yeah.
Let's go through this. Let's start with Sam. Because I'll start just by saying I think the Sam fight's good. I think it's a little too easy.
It's way too easy.
I think it's very, very well designed in terms of the sequences that you have to learn, the zombies that are spawning in. I actually think the Sam Trials is a clever idea. I like how it nerfs your gun. If you fail, you could get rewarded. There's a lot of good bones and structure to that fight. But yeah, it's a little too easy. And I've done it with the Rampage Inducer on. I've done it normally. I've done it with bad guns, good guns. And I find that it just needs to be a little buffed, I guess. It just needs an extra something to make it pop a little bit more.
Sounds like you need to go to round 100.
Is the fight different on round 100 for her as well?
I haven't done it. It is. They spawn amalgams in, and she's just like, she has all of her like final phase attacks. So like from the get go, she can launch you in the air.
Okay.
And then like 2-shot you.
Yeah, maybe I will try that. That sounds fun.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. I think it's too easy personally. Like, I think as a follow-up to the Z-Rex, I feel like all the bosses in BO6 got progressively more difficult, and I really like that. Like, I feel like even with the tools that you had, it got more and more difficult, and then Sam's like the only one that's still too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one, it feels like it was balanced as difficulty as like the Guardian back in December last year. But you have all these upgraded tools that swamp the fight.
Yeah, I also think they wanted to give players a win. You know, like I think if they were both so egregious,
yes, absolutely,
people would have been super pissed. The difference, though, is that the Sam fight is actually a good fight that's designed well, that has breaks and like different. It has a progression throughout it, where the Richtofen fight is ass from the get go. And
what do you think of? Oh yeah, finish your thought.
Well, I just don't understand how people can't see, and I guess it's an opinion, but I just think it's a very poorly like the mechanics are just designed very poorly. Like it's either get killed or run around like a fucking psycho until you finally take him down while you're invisible. Like that's the only way you can do it. You have to be invisible. That is so dumb.
Yeah, because the lethality is just simply too high.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit? What do you think of phase 1 of Richtofen though? Because we mostly harp on phase 2. What do you think of phase 1? He's in the mech suit, and he's chasing you around, and he's got long range attacks.
I think it's underwhelming. I don't think it's bad, but it's just like an Uber Klaus, and I think it's good that there's like phases of other zombies coming in there, like the Mecha Klauses and the the cores and the commando cores. Yes, I like that they have that stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's just kind of like a bullet sponge, and it's okay. I just but then it's like the polar opposite in the second half. So I think it's so. I just feel like it's so counterintuitive on every front and kind of boring, and I just think it's bad. I straight up think it's bad, and I say that having beaten it twice. Like I have tried. I have given it a fair shake. I will say, and let me even remove my bias a little bit more. Hopefully I can. I fucked up the first like 15 times I did the fight. So the first 20 times I screwed up. 5 of them I got glitched out. Either the gobblegum wouldn't pop and my hand got stuck. And so like I couldn't shoot, slide, or run. So that happened to me like 5 times. The other 15 though, I didn't have the double tap augment on double standard. That's
Yeah.
all on me. I understand that. So I bet you if I had that on, I probably would have beaten it a lot sooner. But maybe not. But even though I had the augment on and I finally did it, I still am just like, this is not enjoyable. That's not the type of fight that I find enjoyable, and why I think Mephistopheles is still the best boss fight in COD Zombies history, because of that progression throughout it, learning his move set, figuring out how to hide around those pillars, and understanding which, like, when the ninjas are going to spawn in, when the extinction animals are going to spawn in. I can't remember what they're called off the cryptids. When all this stuff is going to come in, how to navigate it, which fate and fortune cards you need to pop in order to like progress through each sequence safely and quickly. It is so masterful. And this is just like, oh, well, we're just going to have a guy flying around in a 3D space where you can't do shit about it. And he's going to be able to one tap you with a fucking Wonder Waff. And if you're not sliding around like you just joined the COD like League champions, you're not going to be able to beat it. And oh, by the way, you have to be invisible. Like, it just, I just hate it on every level. It's so bad.
I think it's one of those boss fights where it was very clearly designed with co-op in mind, because having 4 people that he's always locked, like he can't lock on to 4 people at once.
That's
so he has
true.
to like that's the whole point, is that like you need to pay attention to who he's locked onto, and then when that person's locked onto, the other person comes in, gets a few attacks in, flies away, or you fly away to get away from him, and then when he's locked onto that person, the other person then turns around and starts firing at him. Like, it's supposed to be that like idea of it's numbers against him, but when I think it's just not balanced well in solo. In solo, there's nothing you can do 90% of the time. You have to be invisible so that he can't target you.
Yeah, it's just a shame. I know there's going to be people who do testing and figure out metas for it. I would love to see if there are other field upgrades you can use and stuff. I know Donuts learned that you can use smoke grenades, which I do think that's a good thing. And I saw in your footage that you use the C4 to pop the power up, which is super smart. Love that stuff. Yeah. I think that stuff makes the fight more interesting. It's just the fact that everybody's clenching their ass trying to get their ether shroud fully ready to go. Yeah. That's what I think
silly. It really could have been fixed if they just didn't let him 3-shot you. Like, I feel like if it should be a combination of undead and him downing you. It shouldn't just be him like being able to 3-tap you and he's like done for the day. He's like, all right, well, that was easy. Because it's hard to learn the fight because you go down so quickly if you fail.
Yeah.
So then it's like, it's hard to make adjustments and to figure out what you're doing wrong because of that feature.
Totally agree. And I just wish that there were fate, like, I know we say, oh, phase 1, phase 2, whatever, like in terms of of his health, but like, I wish there were actually attack phases. Like, here he has rocket damage that he's going to do, or here he has explosive damage, or here is when the waff comes out. Like, I just don't understand why there's no progression in it and no variation in the fight.
I think that's like, I think the problem is like they were trying to think to themselves like Richtofen's supposed to be like, they want you to be dealing with the hardest version of the boss. Like, you do the first half of the fight. This is technically the phase 3. Like, the entire boss fight of Richthofen Part 2 is phase 3, the entire fight. Yeah. It's supposed to be the fight at its hardest. The problem is that like it has the same mentality as like the Keeper being able to instantly down you in DE without like, from phase 1 if you don't know how to use the Ragnaroks to counter him. So it's like, it's that same mentality of like, the game really wants you to die so you can learn that like, oh, this is really deadly, but that's just bad game design in general to do that. Yeah. Because it's unfair to the player because the player can't learn it. Like, I feel like how lethal he is should only be this lethal in the final phase of the boss fight.
Yeah.
Because then you have your bearings, you know what's wrong. And then it's only like, the last section where you feel like, okay, this is the only section that necessitates Aether Shroud. The other two, you could pretty much skate by it as long as you're smart, you're sliding, you're using cover properly, and you can pretty much get pot shots on him pretty easily. And then maybe only in phase 3 does he have like an 18 magazine Wonder Waff that he reloads once ever.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe in the first 3 phases, he makes specific like quotes when he's reloading. And it's only 3 shots. So that you can time 3 shots out of him. He's forced to reload. Maybe like there's a pack-a-punch machine on the map. During phase 3, he like blows it up and shoves the Wonder Waff in it for a second. Blows it up so he can use it. And then his Wonder Waff's pack-a-punched. And that's how that's the max lethality it's going to be let's give it like a magic like 12 shots. It has 6 more than it usually does. And then you have to, that's your next timing. You then need to figure out, oh, it's 12 shots before he reloads.
Yeah.
So he's still just as lethal, but maybe he has an even longer reload time. So it's like, for him, it's that full risk versus reward.
I've never even thought to count how many shots he gets out.
But I don't think he does. I think it's just a random amount of shots, and he sometimes reloads. It might be 6.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
There's also a small brief window you can shoot him when he's like dropping bombs on you, but it's so hard to not get hit with all the explosive damage, which is kind of interesting because don't we have PhD? But I guess that's, I don't know. That's probably a stupid thing to say. We still need to take damage from him somehow. It's just, I'm just thinking like, because that whole section, like the zombies are swarming you. You have a brief moment where he's like flying over the map. You can shoot him, but he targets you.
Really, he flies so fast.
I know, and he targets you right at the end of his arc. He's already on you, and then so you basically like you kind of like you were saying, if maybe during a reload window, like you have just a couple shots you can get in, and then you have to like run away. It's like it's kind of even pointless because the times where you can really lay into him when you're in Ether Shroud is when obviously it counts the most. So
yeah, and that's the thing too, is like they really want you to like strategize, and like maybe in their head they're giving you enough grace with those like 3 seconds that he's reloading and the 3 seconds he's launching away and flying away, but that's definitely not enough.
I'll just say this. I am fine with it being as hard as it is. I'm fine with Treyarch never nerfing it ever again. Or if they, I don't know if they have, but I'm fine with them never nerfing it. I just want them to know that, yeah, we can beat this stuff. We like hard difficulty, but this is stupid. This is just a really badly and poorly designed fight. And you know what? I will put an asterisk on my claim and say I'm open to change, and I put it down. I haven't played The Reckoning since I beat it. I just needed a little bit of a break as I literally played. I don't know if you know this, but I completed the whole battle pass. Like, I mean, I've completed all of season 5 already. So
that's funny.
It was a lot of time put into that. And I'm going to go back to it, and I'm probably going to do round 100 Sam and get to round 100 and stuff for my review, but I needed a break. So maybe I'm going to go back to it and I'm going to feel differently. But as of now, I just think it's a really, I'm actually kind of disappointed in Treyarch. I think I'm not disappointed in the fact that they gave us options. I like that. I think they really tried to make this go out with a bang. So A, for effort, but between the lame ass story, the lack of atmosphere, and then one of the options kind of being overly easy and the other being difficult but not fun, I'm just like, I think this was overall a little bit of a miss in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Which is funny because the boss fights have been like super consistently good the entire year.
I know. But I like that they experiment. I mean, that's
the thing I gotta give them applause for. They experimented.
Exactly.
They tried something new. They didn't just like stick to the same thing. And I think that like the gameplay team was the one that like experimented the most with their ideas and like what the player can handle. And you know, we talked about the game being too safe, but there's definitely moments where I think the team does a really good job. And,
no, I agree.
Yeah. And then there's the ending.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's talk about that. So after 6 years since Tag der Toten, after the events where Nikolai wiped out the multiverse using the Agarthan device, to quote by Nikolai, at least is best paraphrased, no version of them can exist anymore, as their essence is tied to the ether. By killing all of them, they are destroying the ether, and everything falls into the dark ether. No version of them can exist anywhere, except Eddie, because whatever. And all of a sudden, they're back in the dark ether. Why? No one knows.
Can I ask you one more other thing to kind of like add to what you just said?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if I said this to you or not, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I think we maybe talked about it after the map, after we like solved it and we were kind of chatting after the egg hunt. But why? I thought that they were killed. Like Sam shot Nikolai in the head. All the Ultimus and Primus were poisoned. And so I'm just like, how are they like this? This wasn't the Sentinel artifact bringing back, like using their DNA to bring him back, like we were doing for Sam and Eddie, or Sam and Eddie's family. So how are they even alive inside of the dark ether when their literal bodies were mutated and destroyed. Like, last thing to add to it, like, I understand how Gersh or Victus or whatever could be alive because they got sucked into this, like, you know, trash can of storyline, but I don't get how the crew can come back and let alone be like merged into this like Primus Ultimus hybrid. They look cool as hell. Like, the design is sick. Don't get me wrong, but I don't even understand how when they got killed, how they could even be reestablished into human form and know what's going on. But
There are a couple of theories. Let's start first with, like, you know, the other characters existing. So real quick, in actual lore, for example, there is a Weaver that exists in both the Aether storyline and the Dark Ether storyline. Like, anyone that's not the original 4 can exist in both worlds. So for example, in Dark Ether storyline, in like the perfect Cold War world, there exists a, you know, Abigail Barlington, Samuel Stuhlinger, Russman, and Marlton Johnson. They all exist. They don't even need to use the Victus versions. It could just be a normal version of them in 2035 that once again has to fight zombies again. Like, they're fine. They're not tied to the Aether. So they're a part of the new world. For example, in the original Black Ops 1 zombie storyline, Weaver is a character that exists in zombies.
Mhm.
Hudson is a character that exists in zombies. The events of Black Ops 1 and 2 exist in zombies. But in the other way around, in campaign, zombies doesn't exist, at least up until that point. Now in the Dark Ether world, campaign, zombies, and multiplayer all exist in the same space.
Well, and Warzone, obviously the best
Warzone.
Best storyline of all time.
Dude, I love Warzone. Don't you love Warzone?
I love, my favorite character is John McWarzone. He's so good. I love his story arc, his character arc. It's really deep.
Exactly. But yeah, anyways, those characters, like Victus, can exist in the normal world. It'll just be like a normal version of them. It doesn't have to be the Victus that were stuck at, you know, that were from the original Transit. It could just be any of them because they still exist in the normal world. You know, Jessica Rose, she exists. You know, the Call of the Dead crew, they exist. Anyways, I don't know why Primus and Ultimus is here. My main theory is that when the Aether was destroyed, 3 of the essences were destroyed. Dempsey's essence, Takio's essence, and Nikolai's essence. Those 3 were all killed. In my opinion, Dempsey and Takio are killed when the Sentinel artifact, the summoning key, is blown up.
At the end of Tog. We're still talking
at the end of Tog.
Right?
They're blown up. Their essence is blown up. Nikolai still has his soul, and that is killed when Samantha kills him. There's only one not accounted for, and that's Richtofen's.
But the other Richtofens are dead.
Every other Richtofen is dead, but the essence of Richtofen is not dead. Because
that's so
it's very confusing. The way it works is that when, like, our characters go to collect their souls at specific times and places in different fractures in the multiverse, that's how you find the exact essence of that character. So Dempsey's essence can only be found by corrupting the universe, by killing Richtofen during the events of Jerice, which creates the Giant, which then creates a spiraling events, which creates something like Dreisendrach. Because Dreisendrach never existed before until the Giant happened. In that weird time paradox, all of a sudden, Ultimus Richtofen used to work at Hohenheim Castle. That's now part of his story.
I thought you were going to say Home Depot. I don't know why.
No, it's okay, buddy.
But that would have been awesome.
So at that exact moment, that's when Dempsey's essence can be found by killing a version of Ultimus Dempsey. By doing that, you put him in the summoning key, and that's how you get Child Dempsey. The same applies to the other 2. To the point where, like, the universe is fracturing so much that in Gorod Krovi, World War II is continued indefinitely. The universe is falling apart. Dragons and monsters are everywhere. Robots are infecting the war zone. And that's how you get all of that. Where it's like the fracturing of the universe causes that, and that's what allows him to get the 3 souls. Richtofen's soul was found off screen by Primus Richtofen killing a child version of himself in Dimension 2210.
Yeah, is that from Cold War? Or
no.
BO4? I can't remember.
In BO4 they explain it, yeah. But we never actually see those events play out.
That's right.
All we know is he killed a child version of himself. We thought it was Ultimus Richtofen and the Giant. The only reason why Ultimus Richtofen was killed in the Giant was to create the Giant, Dreisendrach, Zetsubo no Shima, Gorod Krovi, and Revelations.
Yes, which we and then we interrupt. So BO4 is an interruption between Setsubo to
BO4 is the Weasel
Gorod.
breaking the cycle in Mob of the Dead, which then causes Blood of the Dead, Alpha Omega, and Tog der Toten. By Weasel breaking the cycle on Mob of the Dead, that's what causes BO4.
Okay, but I have another question. So if
Yep.
you were saying that they kill themselves, a premise kills their ultimate selves that puts their soul in the summoning key, that's what creates the children, correct? Is that what
yes,
you said?
the children are the essence of the Aether. During previous events in the Call of the Dead radios, and I guess Tog der Toten radios, to create the elemental shard, Richtofen grafted, I don't know how you can do this, he grafted their souls to the Aether to create the elemental shard.
Mhm.
It's not explained how he did that, but by doing that, it split them in two permanently. So there is an Ultimus version and a Primus version. That's how you get the two versions. They're split permanently across the Aether.
Okay.
But by doing this, it creates an essence of them that binds them to the Aether. So now the Aether itself, which is a nebulous term that basically just means existence itself, is bound by the characters existing. It's kind of meta in that way.
No, I think that's really smart. I like that.
Yeah. It's literally like a video game equivalent of like the story only exists because the main characters exist. The story is tied to the main characters. So by killing the main characters permanently, that's what allows the story to end.
So where I'm getting lost is when you just told me that children thing, which I forgot about. Yep. We have in BO3, we have Richtofen's child essence, we have Dempsey's child essence, and Takio's child essence gets interrupted. We go down to the BO4 arc. Nikolai still has his soul. And then so basically by that logic, all of the essences should be alive except for Nikolai's.
No. Dempsey and Takio's was in the summoning key and it got blended and destroyed when happened. They were never sent to the house
because we never went to Revelations.
Because only in Gorod Krovi are once all three souls are collected do they go to the house.
All right, that cleared up a huge. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, isn't that confusing?
No, yeah, it is, but it's pretty fucking cool. Also, at the same time, it's just.
I'm glad you think it's cool. Yeah,
I do. Because
I'm glad. I'm serious. I'm sorry. My sound sarcastic. I'm really glad you think that's cool. Like, obviously, I know this stuff to a T. It's just like. It's very convoluted.
I just forget some of it. Like I used to know more, but it's just just been a while. But what I'm confused of, and I'm gonna share my screen with you for a second. Make sure
Let's see
the
right one. Yeah.
Well, I just want to. Okay, hold on. Is it this one?
Yeah. Anyways, just to finish my thought, the reason why the multiverse might be happening again, like why, we're seeing Primus and Ultimus, is because Richtofen's essence was never destroyed, so the Aether still exists, which is what allows a version of Richtofen, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takio to exist in the Dark Aether. Let's see this.
Wait.
That's where the crux of my theory comes from. By Richtofen's child essence not being destroyed during the events of Tog der Toten, he was allowed to go to the New World. I think by Nikolai not killing that Richtofen, he basically screwed everything up. Because then there's the essence of the Aether still exists, which then allows the Dark Aether to corrupt and consume again. That's what then allows the four versions of them to exist in the Dark Aether to fight that corruption.
Because if one exists, they all exist.
Yeah, so basically, maybe by us killing Richtofen in the Reckoning, that's what might cause something to change now.
So this is how I'm trying to lock at it. So we have Aether, right?
This
is the original storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tag happens, and it goes...
Here, real quick, I'll explain. I can explain this really well. Draw a bubble around Aether. That is the entire multiverse.
Yes.
In the Aether, you have Agartha, which is so inside that circle, Agartha would be at the top side of the circle. The normal world would be in the middle of the circle, and then the Aether would be at the bottom of the circle. But in that is what makes up the COD Zombies multiverse. When Nikolai uses the Sentinel artifact, son of a bitch. When Nikolai uses the summoning key to destroy the multiverse, it pops that bubble. Now, real quick, draw underneath that. Okay. Draw a giant bowl. That is the Dark Aether right there. This is what the Dark Aether is. The Dark Aether has always existed. According to the Dark Aether gods in Vanguard, that is the Dark Aether. When Nikolai popped that bubble and the multiverse was condensed into one universe, everything that involved Pack-a-Punch, the ray gun, the mystery box, the zombies, 115, the essence of the characters. It all fell down into the dark ether. So all of this stuff fell into this other dimension that was just casually sitting underneath it. And now the aether, that circle you have there, is just one world. There is simply one world that is remaining now. And below it is an entire dimension of monsters, deities, gods, and corruption beyond belief.
Can I try to explain it another way, and you can tell me if this makes sense?
Yeah, please describe it in your way, because this is the way that I've described it. I just want to explain it to you, so that's how I understand it.
So here's the ether storyline, like all the shit from Blundell, and then we do tag, and then it basically gets all sucked up into just like a black hole. That's how I've always looked at it. It got sucked up into its own summoning key, for lack of a better word. It just gets it compacted into its own thing. Then D Machine happens, and through the particle accelerator and the experiences of the Nazis, it starts to leak out into reality. So when it gets compressed, it's turning into the dark ether. Like basically it's all the dimensions, all the stuff that's happened, all the different, like, you know, the Shadows of Evil dimension, Mob of the Dead dimension, whatever, the 26 or whatever you're talking about, like all these different dimensions smushed together, and it's just like massive corruption on a scale we can never see. But then the D Machine happens and it starts to leak into the real world. That's how I've always looked at it. Is that not right?
No, it's not. Basically, Be'lakor describes it that the dark ether had existed for an unknown amount of time, and all of a sudden one day things started falling into it. Pack-a-punch, perk machines. When stuff started falling into it, that was when Nikolai did what I'm going to refer to as a Togdertoten.
So the ether. Okay, let me try again. So the ether is its own thing. The dark ether is a separate thing, and stuff from the ether is leaking into the dark ether, which is leaking into reality.
No, everything from the ether is now, it just fell. I know it fell into it. Everything that was in the ether is now just existing in the dark ether.
But how does this bleed into reality? That's where I'm not understanding.
Yes. So now, okay. So there's a normal world. So get rid of aether right there in that circle that get rid of the word aether in there.
This one? Get rid of this one?
Yeah, get rid of that.
Okay.
That's now we're going to replace that with the normal world. That's what's left now. It's one world. That's the Cold War world.
Oh, so the compression just turned it instead of the ball of shit that I was talking about. That's just the regular world.
That's the normal world now. And then when the events of D Machine, the cyclotron, they were basically punching holes into the dark ether, which they didn't know existed at that point.
So,
and then the dark ether just so happens to still have things that we, the player, recognize, like things bleed out that we recognize, like Pack-a-Punch. The perk machines were reverse engineered from the dark ether. Salvage tables and armory machines, those are all created by Zykov, for example. Chalk drawings again start popping up.
That's really why Zykov is evil, because of the crafting table. But okay, so here's the part 2 of the question. Let's put blue. Where does chaos come in?
The way it's understood is that chaos has always been in the normal world, which is our Cold War world. It never existed before.
Which is the compression of the dark ether? Or the ether?
The compression of the multiverse? Yeah.
Yes.
So
oh my God.
There are a couple of theories. One, people think there are 2 theories. Either chaos existed as one of the many infinite worlds in the original ether. You know, it's infinite infinites. It could exist there totally.
A multiverse.
Or the other theory is that in the normal world, the dark ether infecting the normal world created stuff like prima materia. The dark ether gods were that humans could rarely see, were being misinterpreted as like Zeus, Odin, Ra. So then you have like some sects of the order. They believe that the gods are Zeus, Odin, Gaia, Ra, Danu, stuff like that. Whereas there are other sects of the order that believe in the dark ether. So they pray to deities like Cortifex, Be'lakor, Invictor, Nordicus.
They're essentially
the same thing.
I actually like this less now. So, well, thank you for explaining it to me. Like I said, I always thought it was the ether. I'm gonna explain literally what I thought it was in completion.
Go
So
for it.
I always thought it was ether, and then we did tag, and that smushed it all together into a condensed, all those multiverses into a condensed thing. Then I thought there was just like reality, just like, you know, it is now, like where, you know,
The normal world.
where we have our presidents and all the normal stuff that's happened in life, because we had literally frickin' Reagan in the Cold War campaign. So that's part of the other reason why I thought that. So then there's reality. And I also thought that chaos was part of reality, because you go on the Titanic and it's about taking an alternate spin on events where people, it's almost like a conspiracy theory where, oh, that's so cool. I just realized that that's
well,
how Black
that's
Ops
really what
is
happens
founded.
with Sentinel artifacts. They happen in the blink of an eye. So the only people that experience them are the Chaos Crew. To everyone else,
trialees.
Trial. It was literally it couldn't have happened. Now that doesn't make any sense. What would happen to the people in Ancient Evil? Like, are there just like an entire city of ancient Greeks now existing in the modern world after the trial of Ancient Evil was completed?
I mean, that's a good question.
Same thing with Dead of the Night.
That's the stuff.
An entire like mansion party that now woke up and they're all in a burning house and they all die.
Yeah, I mean, that's the stuff we're never gonna figure out. And so when the ether got compressed, I thought it turned into the dark ether. That's where I think I'm getting confused.
I know what you mean. The way that Nikolai describes it is that the dark ether always existed.
Okay.
He's basically shoving all the problems of the multiverse into a trash can.
And then after that, since this becomes the quote unquote dark ether, I thought it started leaking into the reality, which is why chaos is allowed into this world.
You have the right idea. The only difference is the dark ether always existed. It just merged with the aether in the multiverse.
Okay.
It just merged with it. So all those elements got smushed together in a blender. So now like it's part of the dark ether's lore now.
All right. Well,
yeah.
It's definitely confusing. And I don't dislike, I guess I don't dislike it, but it almost makes like, I feel like my version made more sense. Maybe it's because I made it up my own head, so that's why I think it makes sense. I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble wrapping around my head around the dark ether being a separate thing, because it's like, okay, we have the ether and the dark ether.
Well, because it's really confusing. It doesn't help that in some BO1 and BO3 lore, they even talk about the fact that the keepers interacted with the dark ether, which is different than the aether, which is they use various terms that basically like they have similar names, but they mean different things. So aether is both essence, it's both like the thing that binds the universe together, but it is also a realm that the apothecons exist in.
Yeah.
In the same way that like then also Agartha is also a realm where the keepers exist in. It's considered both heaven, the great beyond. It's also called aether too sometimes. The basic understanding is that there's a realm where the keepers exist, there's a realm where the apothecons exist, and then there's a realm outside of their known idea of creation, which is where people like Cortifex come from. That's where the construct comes from.
That actually, the way you said that helped a lot, actually.
Yes, yeah. Like just imagine Cortifex existing in his own known reality from the Shadow Man. They both don't know of each other's existence, but they both exist as similar power levels in their known realities.
Okay.
So basically, Cortifex lucked out that the Shadow Man isn't alive right now, or else he would be on like Bozo Pack Watch.
I guess it also kind of makes sense with it condensing the ether into quote unquote the normal world, because in the multiverse, like in our story, like in Doris and stuff, like we're at a Nazi facility, so like World War II happened, like life events were happening. So I guess I can see that too, because I'm trying.
It also helps that like most of Zombies has almost no catastrophic effects on the real world past like Moon. Like most stuff in Zombies could have easily been written in the campaign as like, these were just random CIA, covert things, like the CDC and FBI knew about Nuketown and the zombie outbreak after Alpha Omega, but it doesn't affect the real world. So there's no effect on the only Moon was when they jumped the shark. And now it's like, if you ever want to merge Zombies and campaign, you have to do a full universe reset and basically say that like, okay, the real world still exists up to 2035. So that's when the BO7 is going to come out this year.
Okay, that's actually a good transition. So there's two things I
Yeah.
want to do before we finish this podcast. Just talk a little bit about BO7, and I think we could do a quick map ranking of all the maps from worst to best. Does that sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was gonna get a tier list out, but let's see if
Up
there's
to
a
you.
BO6 tier list. Well, it would be fun to do.
Yeah,
BO6 tier list. What is that site called again? The tier list maker.
Tier list maker.
We'll just use the one that I did the other day. We'll just do the BO6 maps. I actually have a tier list maker account because I'm so cool.
No, I do too, dude. I have like my own tier list. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna do a stream where I'm tier listing everything. I'm excited.
Cool. That would be fun. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it pulled up. Let's talk BO7 first. What are things like, I guess, what's your wish list, kind of, to lack of a better word? Like, what are you hoping for? What do you want them to do if transit is real? Like, what are you hoping for and thinking and dreaming, and then maybe kind of put a reality check inside of that if you can as well.
So I guess for hopes and dreams, real quick, I'd like to think that I need the writing team to know what they want to do. I need the writing team to have what are the themes of your story? Because there's no themes in BO7. When I think of Cold War, I think of, no matter how bad the gameplay is, the story has an actual meaning. It's a story about loyalty. It's a story about different factions. It's a story about the Cold War. It's a story about hubris. It's a story about sacrifice. It has actual characters with real things to give up and lose. It's a world where people are, where things go wrong. You have a man trapped in the Dark Ether for 40 years, and that causes him to become disillusioned in war. He saw that humanity couldn't even come to peace after World War II, the literal most destructive war we'd ever had on Earth, and we're still fighting. So he doesn't even think that the world deserves that chance anymore. In BO7, I want them to tell an actual story. Who are the people in our story? What do they have to gain? What do they have to lose? If your crews are the Ultimus Primus crew, and then you have Weaver in the gang, well, how do these two crews interact with each other? Do they have something to gain from it? Is there too many cooks in the kitchen in the story to make your story good? 'Cause that's what happened in BO6. Every character wants to kill Richtofen, and there are so many opportunities to bring up cool relationship like crossovers and ideas, but nothing is done with it. Gray made Klaus, and she doesn't even react to any of the Klaus robots in the Reckoning. Strauss worked on the Strauss, he has a Strauss counter named after him in both Liberty Falls and the Reckoning. And when you pick it up, he doesn't even mention it. He doesn't say a word. Peck only has a single line in co-op unless you're playing solo.
I never thought about the Strauss counter thing. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a device Panos named after him. And
Strauss, there's no back and forth between them at all.
No. You in the Tomb, Missed Opportunity, in not Tomb, Citadel. Strauss and Croft both worked for the German high power during German Reich during World War II. The events of what Strauss did directly affected Croft's life. By punching the hole into the world through the cyclotron, it permanently changed Croft's life. It got his partner killed because he was into pseudosciences and mythology. It caused, his partner to be murdered. It caused all this madness for Croft in his life. Caused him to pick up Richtofen. And Strauss and Croft don't even acknowledge each other on the map.
Well, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. They did ask him to exfil, so.
That's true, dude. In the Reckoning, his juice box spilled on the controls. And that ruined it. Anyways. So that's what I want to see. If you're going to have 8 characters, you need to figure out, how do these 8 characters exist in the space with each other? What are their relationships? What are they fighting for? What are they fighting against? Are there things that they disagree with? Does Weaver not like working with what seems to be a German, high-ranking officer? Mm-hmm. Does Takio find honor in any of the characters and the choices that they've made? Does Nikolai feel sorrow for what's happened to Richtofen in his life? And, how does Richtofen react? How does Weaver? I said Richtofen. How Nikolai sympathizes with Weaver and what happened to Richtofen's son. Is Weaver able to move on from what happened to him? How does Gray feel knowing that Sam might be gone? These are things that I need to see to show that you can write these characters. It can't just be point A to point B. The events of the story change how people act on a dime. I need to feel like these are real people that have problems and struggles.
So
It
Oh,
can't
go
just be
ahead. I'm
Dark
sorry.
Ether set piece after Dark Ether set piece, basically.
Yeah, I also I just want to say this to Treyarch. If any of the devs listen, I doubt they do, but if they do,
You never know.
I just want you guys to just stick with something.
Yes, please.
I don't care if the story is so dumb, like in the sense of not dumb as in like BO6 dumb, but I mean dumb as in like I'm a freaking unicorn flying on rainbows. Like I don't care. Just stick with something and commit to it, please.
Yeah.
I hope it's not that, but what I mean is just, you know, give the characters some grounding principles into the world. If we're gonna have like like, because I'm looking at the BO1 maps, right, and it's like inside of Kino and 5 and Ascension and Call of the Dead and stuff, like they're very self-contained stories, and the progression is that really kind of came a little bit later. I mean, I know there was some connections in there, but they were figuring that stuff out. And if you need to make more self-contained experiences, then fine. Just stick with an idea. Don't try to water every element of Zombies down, because it's going to feel empty. When you water down all the gameplay systems so that they're universal and there's not unique characteristics for each map, it hurts the game. When you try to have Craft, Weaver, Gray, Richtofen, Sam, Strauss, Raptor 1, Maya, I don't even know who else. I can't even think of any. The
Peck. Yeah.
Peck, the people from Shattered Veil. Like there are so many characters and they all did nothing.
Yes.
So, and then you throw a wrench in and call this some dude Kruger. I don't even know who the hell that is. I'll have to look at the lore, see if he comes up before. But like then Kruger comes in and like undoes everything, all the weak goodwill that you guys built with us anyway. So I just want you guys to stick to something. Commit to it, even if it's a simple idea. Just commit to it and stop trying to pivot and do all these weird things. And maybe there are some issues with the AI stuff and like the contracts with the voice actors. I don't really know. Maybe there was, because like, I mean, Maya and Gray haven't spoken in a cutscene since.
I just don't like. I don't really get that because I guess the cutscenes take a while to do, but then you have like some cutscenes like the Shattered Veil one, which are done in engine. So it's like, why? Like they speak in map.
Yeah,
so it's not like they have no lines.
But their lines are they repeat a lot.
No, but there are unique lines. Like there's like Peck and Maya have a whole unique. Yes, it's not just like, you know, the same repeated lines from the first two maps. Like Maya calls the Sentinel artifact a prima donna in the tomb. She's constantly talking to Peck in their adventure in the Reckoning.
Yeah, you're right. There's some stuff in the tomb I remember.
That's thing. There is lines. So it's not like they're not saying anything, but it's just like, yeah, I agree. Like there are cutscenes where like half the crew stands around, and then the secondary cast doesn't even say anything.
Yeah.
I feel like. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. Yeah, like, you know, if you want to do something, like I'm not like, you know, it needs to be smart too. You can't just say stuff like Sam's dead, because that just comes off as like brash storytelling for the sake of shock value, and then not actually extrapolating on it, and especially when the known information directly contradicts it.
Yeah.
So then it's like, you know, you don't get an applause when she comes out of like a portal later. She's like, Sam, we thought you were dead. And the writers are like, we did it, guys. We successfully baited the audience. No, you didn't. You just made things more confused and muddy because you wanted to have that like choice in the Reckoning without understanding why saying
the impact of it.
Yes, confuses it.
You know, also this is a little corny, but I was thinking about it the other day when I was watching the Reckoning footage I did. It's literally a cliche ending of Richtofen gets his family, and literally the last scene you see is the sunset. It's literally we win and we stare off into the sunset. I was like, holy crap. This is literally just the most cliche, unimaginative type ending. And Sam looks at the sunset, Richtofen looks at the sun. I know I'm being nitpicky, but it's just it's like so cliche. And there's no, I I was going to say I don't feel the impact from the decision, but I kind of do a little bit when I see Richtofen with his family. I actually am like, oh, that's nice. But when I see Sam,
nice, yeah.
when I see Sam come back, I'm like, like I know the Weaver crew or whatever they're called, BO6 crew is probably in the dark ether right now. So I get why they didn't go see Sam, but it's like kind of frustrating that we don't even get to see their reuniting, after everything that they went through. I don't know. Maybe I don't.
So
I
then
can't.
It's like that feels hollow. Like there's no catharsis. It's like the catharsis is Sam. The Sam AI gets her catharsis. What about the Weaver and the characters we actually follow?
Yeah, it's so crazy, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just don't know how to feel.
No, you're good. That's the thing. I don't know how to feel either. Like you want to talk about something I don't know how to feel about? The Sam AI herself. Like I get it's hard not to remove the idea that it's a different voice actress, but even if Julie Nathanson was voicing the Sam AI, it doesn't even feel like Sam.
Yeah.
It feels like it feels like a whole different character. This woman is psychotic. She's insane. She murdered an entire town's worth of people just to get what she wanted.
Yeah.
Like what was the point of her doing any of this besides just like wanting her own body? Like that's just, I don't think that's a good enough reason to drive the entire crux of the BO6 story off of.
That's a really good point. I never even thought about that. Just to get her own body.
Like that's it. Cause like, I mean, I get the idea. Like imagine if you just woke up one day in like a robot body and like, now you have to exist with the idea that you have memories that you were once human, you blacked out and now all of a sudden you're in a RoboCop suit. I think of that one scene from the movie where the guy goes, "There's nothing left." And all he is just like a lung, like lungs and like a face. That's how Sam feels. But it then makes you question, why did Richtofen even create Sam? Why did he have to use Sam's like, mind to make her? Why couldn't he just make a dark ether manipulation device? Like, why did it have to be Sam that could do that? I don't know.
No, like every idea in BO6 trails off. Like it starts off with this really like punctuated, amazing, bold, italicized, underline like idea. And then all of a sudden the pen starts to just like dry up.
Well, I mean, it feels like, they come up with the idea and then not a single person thinks, okay, well, how do we actually like make that satisfying? Because the ending of your, point is as important as like writing the point down itself. You could say anything. You could say that like, oh, Weaver's actually the great grandson of Dempsey, period. Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, does that mean anything? Does that like, does that inform his character? Does that change the way that he reacts to stuff? What is Sam? Why is she here? What's her purpose? Like, besides just the end of the sentence being Samantha Maxis, the robot, wants to be a person.
Yeah.
That's such a half sentence.
It's the why. Yeah. And this is what's really important. It's something I think about in terms of content creation all the time. I'm sure you do. Or maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't want to presume what you think, but when I'm trying to come up with a video, I always try to think like, what is the ending that I'm trying to deliver to the audience? Like, with my title and stuff, I'm like, what am I trying to tell these people? I don't know if you can hear that thunder in the background. It's really loud.
I just barely heard it. Yeah.
But people are saying like, or excuse me, it distracted me. I always think like, okay, I'm trying to lead people to this point. Like, yes, I'm making a review or whatever, but I need to explain it, like I'm saying, BO6 is good or bad, but that's like where I'm ending up. So every time I'm writing a paragraph or every time I'm scripting something, I'm thinking, does this tie in with the ending that I'm trying to deliver on? I'm always thinking that. And sometimes I miss. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. Sometimes I get lost in the weeds and stuff. But like, I think as storytellers, not that I'm considering myself a storyteller, I'm talking about real writers, you have to think of like, what is this ending and how am I getting there? And it really feels like they just thought about the beginning of every idea rather than its conclusion and working backwards from those conclusions.
I hate to say it, but I started the thunder. But then I hate to say it, with what we know about the development, you have Joseph Perelski and Craig Houston, who, as far as we're aware, Joseph works for DICE now, and Craig Houston, as far as I'm aware, isn't. He had to take a hands-off approach for a while. So then, does that explain that you have really strong ideas from really experienced writers, and then when those guys are out of the studio, like all you have left is people to finish the sentence, and they're not equipped to handle that.
It's a pretty big task.
It is. And, someone investigated all the writers currently at Treyarch working on Zombies, and one of them even mentioned that it's a struggle to work on, this multifaceted, multi-angled story. Which I think, it goes to show that it's difficult, but at the same time, you have to call it like it is. You have to, I'm not, I don't want to be rude and disingenuous to people who are writing. This is clearly their job and they work really hard on it. But it's like, these are the points that we're trying to make about it. We don't think this idea holds up very well. Where does this idea go? And then it doesn't help when we have a pretty good understanding of what these development cycles look like. They're heavily crunched. They get probably a couple of, weeks and months to work on this stuff before they're, okay, we need 3 people to work on the Warzone lines for this month. We need 3 people to work on the Zombies content for this month. We need 2 people to work on the IGCs for the next Wars, like Battle Pass season and the multiplayer cutscene. So they're probably stretched. Ideas start out as like, okay, Craig left us with these ideas and these plot beats, and then whoever is left to actually write it has maybe a week to work on it. You think about how hard it is to write stuff. From our perspective, what does our free time look like when writing a story compared to what does it look like when it's your job and you have deadlines? Sometimes you have to just settle for Rick Toffin has an item in his hand and Weaver has the Mark II in his hand, and that's what allows them to escape the liminal space because you don't have the time and capacity to write that and to give it a full explanation.
Sure. No, I think that's very fair, and I want to end on a positive note for the developers, like if they're watching or whatever, it's just I know what you guys are capable of, and this was not it. That's all I'll say. It's you guys are so talented, have created one of the most important franchises. And whether been on the team for years or you're newer, you guys are capable of some of the greatest content ever made in my opinion. Like it's so freaking good. Zombies has changed my life. I've met so many cool friends. I've had so many fun memories. Whether it's doing stuff like gameplay wise, beating director's cut, or doing the Terminus boss fight for the first time, or experiencing Call of the Dead, or doing Origins or Shadows of Evil or whatever. You guys have changed my life and impacted it in such a great way. So I know that when you guys commit to brilliant ideas, holy shit, the thunder is crazy. I know when you guys commit to these ideas and can polish them and make, like, you guys can make brilliant stuff. But for whatever reason in BO6, I don't know if it was the writer's strike. I don't know if Activision was like, no, make it really stupid. And you guys are like, okay, whatever.
You need to figure out a way to lead it into premise ultimately. Like that's what you need to lead it into.
Or maybe you guys just missed the ball. That's cool too. But for the upcoming game with BO7, I'm like, normally I would say I'm really worried about what they're going to do with premise. I'm actually not worried at all because I'm becoming so apathetic. It's actually concerning. So I just hope you guys take the skills you guys, I know you all have, and make it something amazing, because I know you're totally capable of it. And I just like, I tip my hat to you guys, and I hope you guys crush it. And I'll be playing, but will I be hooked on the edge of my seat? I don't know. I don't think so, but only time will tell.
Yeah. My advice is keep it simple. A simple story could be more effective than a complex one. And if you're going to commit to a complex one, then you need to have a plan of A, B, and C, where all these points land so that it feels satisfying. Because if at least if it's BO1 simple and I can say, well, that was fun, and that didn't give me a headache trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I agree with Afterlife, Alex, where it's like, these games are important. They we love when they fire on all cylinders. We know you guys love it when it's firing on all cylinders. And this game, it didn't end up that way. Whether it be developer issues, whether it be like things going wrong, whether it just be things not being done properly. Something just went wrong in the pipeline. We would love to see it work out again and be awesome. But I guess I should just mention real quick, like we got totally sidetracked on BO7. BO7, hope it's fun. That's my main point.
No, I agree. I agree too.
Hope it's, give me something to cling on to. And do you want to do that tier list real quick?
Yeah, I just have one quick question. Do you want like the systems from BO6 and BO7, or do you want new systems?
I at this point, I don't think there's any reason to switch it up. Just make it the same system, because it's gonna be year after year.
Yeah, just make
And
good maps.
just make good maps. Again, like they have a formula that works for now, even if it is repetitive. Just make good maps that compare with it, and I think that'll definitely take the gameplay a long way. Like the Reckoning proves that, like when you do unique map ideas, when you do unique concepts and like map elements, you can take it a lot farther than you would think.
I agree. Can you see the tier list?
Yeah, let me zoom in on it. Hold on. Okay, I see it. It's a little
All right,
pixely, but I see it.
Well, we're just gonna only do the 5. They're at the bottom on the bottom.
Yeah,
right.
I see it. Yep.
So do you want to do each our own, or do you want to combine our answers
Let's
together?
combine our answers.
Okay, cool.
We'll see where they both land. Yeah, that's more
All
fun.
right. Let's do Terminus first. What do you rank Terminus?
Like A, almost S tier.
I rank it an A as well. I
love Terminus.
And you know what's funny? If like in Horizon Track or whatever, like whatever map you want to use, like how they have their own mechanics and stuff kind of like in the game and their own experience.
Mm-hmm.
If Terminus had the crafting table and the ammo and the arsenal and like all the shit that BO6 has, but it was just on that map, I think it would be S tier, because it would be like its own unique thing, because it feels like a zombies map. It feels like classic Treyarch. But it's just like this. If the systems were only unique to it and you only got that experience on Terminus, it would be S tier for sure. But because it's shit spread out into the entire game, it waters down Terminus as well. Okay, Liberty Falls.
Like the whole idea, that like like it's like the crew are scavenging stuff on the island themselves. Like that's like the salvage is like its own unique mechanic.
Exactly. That's
because I really like the story on Terminus. I really like the gameplay. I like the islands and the boat gameplay a lot more. Obviously, they're very extraneous and they're hard to utilize properly, but I think that if you can use them and you commit to side quests, you commit to the main quest, they're a lot more fun to use.
Yeah.
All right,
Liberty Balls.
C. Like C, low C. Like if this is like, that's a zombies map. Maybe a D. That's a zombies map to me.
I can't remember what I ranked it recently. I think I gave it a C. But I will say the main quest is pretty good. Do you not like it?
Yeah, for short, is it? No, I think as you kind of have to look at it two ways. Either as like an onboarding experience, or as like if you were to compare it to every zombies map ever. I think as a bonus experience, as a map that's meant to, like, if you don't understand Terminus, Liberty Falls is the map where like you can just get in, play, have fun. You can solve the egg on your own. It's really easy. Like this is a level 1, the most level 1 a modern zombies map could be. So I think the only thing that it's like it's just not elevated by characters, theming, or story.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Yeah,
I would give it a low C, and if you gave it a high, like I wish I could put
I'd say low C. Yeah, low C, honestly. Yeah.
All right, Citadel de Boer is what I call it. But
I would give it like either a B or an A. I say B for me.
I'll give it a B. That's what I gave it in my most recent tier list. I feel like I'm too hard on it, but I also
I noticed that people are very hard on this map, which I feel like it's a multifaceted problem. Is it a BO6 issue? Is it a Citadel issue? Is it the Wonder Weapon issue? Is it the fact that the map just can't match the stakes of previous experiences? It really wants to be this like next step in like a big bombastic adventure, but it's stuck in the BO6 storyline and world where it really is just the next level after Terminus.
Yeah.
So it's hard to take it to. It feels like the map has a hard time taking itself to the next level. Besides the Guardian at the end,
I think the atmosphere is an epic bummer, and I think it does this thing with the puzzles where it's like, oh, we have this cool step atmospherically with the lightning sword or whatever, where you have to like upgrade it. But then you do the lion sword and you just go into this room and do the same puzzle that takes 20 seconds to do. It has this like push and pull of difficulty and cool atmospheric stuff, but it's kind of like bogged down by that wishy-washy element of BO6. So
yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's not much going on in the map itself. It's just like I think it's beautiful. There's just like the world itself is like you're not like you're not in a world where it feels like there's smugglers like around every corner. It's not like a world where it's active and people are trying to take you down too alongside the zombies. It's a zombies map.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't really feel like there's a world like, like if we compare it to Origins feels like a world that's actively moving around you. It's a battlefield that's in constant, it's in a constant dynamic shift.
It does.
Citadel is just, there are zombies and there is a castle.
And they do nothing.
So, yeah. They do nothing. It's comparison to DE, that does stuff too. You have like the constant battle with Groff. You have all this different stuff happening. You have rocket launches. You have rocket testing. You have panzers showing up. You have bows that reveal themselves with like, very confusing puzzles that are, hard to solve, but easy to replicate if you know what to do.
It feels very alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The Tomb.
The Tomb, I'm actually going to put lower than Liberty Falls. I think it's a low C or D.
But what about the boss fight? I like the boss fight.
The boss fight does elevate. I think the problem is that like the Tomb is just a map that like I think it has so much more to live up to, and it doesn't for me. Whereas Liberty Falls, I have almost no expectations for. Where it's like, yeah, that's a bonus map. Sure, why not? The Tomb is like, yeah.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
The Tomb is like, how do you follow up Citadel? And I don't think they followed up very well on all fronts. The story is just Archibald and Potts and with radios of them being idiots inside of a underground cave. The Sentinel artifact lore doesn't follow anything that's supposed to. Croft should have been on this map instead of Archibald. The Sentinel artifact boss fight is really cool. The ice staff is here for some reason, and it's never explained why. It's literally used as like, you, the player, you know what that is, but the characters don't. They describe it like it's this fabled legendary item with no consistency on why it's here. There's no cohesion with it. Also, it's just a small map. I think it's a prettier, more dynamic Liberty Falls, but where it's doing things right compared to Liberty Falls, it's just getting other things wrong that are more specific. That like the way it handles the chaos lore, I very much dislike.
I'll put it this way because I agree with everything you said. I'll put it this way: I don't ever get an urge to play the Tomb. Now, I think again on my tier list, I gave it a C. But I'm fine actually giving it a D in the context of like just BO6 alone, I suppose, because I think I have more fun playing Liberty Falls just killing zombies, but I do not really enjoy hopping in the Tomb and dealing with all the. I just don't really want to be there. I know that sounds so stupid, but I say this all the time. Like,
no, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I want to be in Dead of the Night. I want to be inside of Origins or Call of the Dead. Like, I want to go there. But the Tomb, I'm just like, I don't really want to be in here that much.
I mean, I feel like stuff like the shock mimics is not helping either.
The shock mimics, but I don't know if you've seen
enemy ever.
The do you know who Tim Robinson is? A comedian?
No, maybe I do. Go on, pretend I do. I think I might know.
He has this bit where he's doing like a prank show and they dress him up in a costume to look like an old man. I know who this is. But it's done really badly. And he says like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to live anymore. It's like, that's how I feel when I'm in the Tomb.
Yeah.
All right. Shattered Veil.
Okay. Shattered Veil. I want to put that, thankfully we can finally go up in rankings. I want to put that like, to me, it's kind of tied with Citadel, whether above or below. Like it's in a B tier. So for me, I really enjoy the story content on the map. It feels like this is the only map that actually understands what the story is supposed to be besides Terminus. It feels like it's actively moving forward. It feels like it has at least a decent way of extrapolating on its ideas. I think the gameplay is a ton of fun. The Elder Disciple is handled really well despite being a returning enemy. I think it's very unique. The ray guns are okay. The Wonderloff is there too. I think it just handles elements really well. I think it's a very pretty map. I think it's a very unique facility. One of my favorite things is just looking in the hallways and like looking in barricades, and just it feels like a classic zombies map where there's a 100%. World that's extending beyond what you could play in Shattered Veil, and that's something that's really important to me in zombies.
I personally think this is the best map in BO6.
Really? Yeah, you can put it like on A tier. B tier, whichever.
It basically goes like here or here.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll put it at the top of B. That's fair because I think the reused wonder weapons bums a lot of people out and stuff. But I think the gameplay is top tier. I think the boss fight is top tier. I think the story stuff is really good. Actually, there's a couple parts that really do annoy me, like when you're doing the Dark Ether worm step and like collecting the stuff for the canisters, the power for the canisters.
Yes, the Doppelgast innocence. Yeah,
it's so easy. You just shoot them once and they're dead. Like there's no stakes in some of the quest, but
I mean, you think back to like Origins, like like whenever those 8 panzers are popping out of the hole, and then you just use a charged fire staff shot, and they are like blipped in milliseconds.
That's true. But then like, it's
just an issue with how they balance special enemies, and like the game doesn't know where you're going to be at all times, so they have set health bars for them. because they can never truly predict where you're going to be if you're using gobble gums, if you're using, no gobble gums, if you're like, a blue rarity, PAP 1 or PAP 2. Like, you think of the Nathan fight, that fight completely changes on its head whether you're just using a PAP 1 AR compared to using a PAP 2 purple shotgun with Deadwire and Elemental Pop with Vulnera Beam.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's fair. Hopefully they can use AI to predict where I am, because
that's true.
I want a full AI zombies game. AI storyline too. So I'm kidding, by the way, people. I don't want that. Okay.
He wants it. He really does want it. He talks to me about it all the time. He says, Stanley. I was talking to my AI girlfriend last night, and she was telling me that, like, the next zombies map is going to be set in Brazil, and it's going to be on a volcano, and like, that she's breaking up with me because Grok is,
That's what I was about to say. Grok and I are going steady. Yeah. All right. The Reckoning.
The Reckoning. I think The Reckoning is it's somewhere in like B or C for me. I think it's like in that range. I think probably about Liberty Falls. Super cool idea, super cool map, gameplay wise, super fun. It's just the story content completely tanks this map, and then the Richtofen boss fight does not help either.
Yeah, I think.
But you can tell, like, they're trying to take a lot of credit. Like, The Reckoning really feels like the one map where, like, they're trying, and Shattered Veil, the two maps where they're taking our criticisms and really trying to, like, listen to them, answer them, do different things, take a different spin on ideas. Like, unique wonder weapon, having choices, trying to do dynamic and different things, like having 2 boss fights. When's the last time we've ever had? First time I've ever had that, actually. 2 main boss fights in the map.
Oh, and a mid boss fight too.
Like and a mid boss fight too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could count Outbreak, sort of. But yeah, like actual,
you're so right. Yeah, you're so right.
Actual good boss fights. I mean, when we look at all of this, it is I like, if this was my list, I'd probably put The Reckoning above Citadel, and I'd probably have Citadel on par with Liberty or something. I don't know. It depends on like how I'm thinking about everything, but experientially, I mean, I think this is fine. I do think Shattered Veil is better than Terminus, but we're combining everything. But when I look at this, it does kind of bum me out a little bit. Like, we had 1 A map, maybe 2 if you want to get split hairs about Citadel.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Or I mean Shattered, and then the rest are just kind of okay. And then I think about, like,
I mean, pull up Cold Wars real quick, because Cold Wars is D Machine is like a B.
Where is it? Where am I?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, D Machine's a B. Firebase Z is like a C or D. Outbreak is a D, probably. Like, in all honesty, Mauer is probably like.
I like Outbreak. I just
would you put that in C? Then put it in C. Put it in C. Mauer's an A. Forsaken's also a C. Like, either C or B. It's like, same range of quality. Yeah. I think BO6 has like a higher like quality in terms of like what it wants to do and like the elements that it has. But in the end of the day, it's not doing anything extraordinary. And it's not doing like the worst thing ever. Like, pull up BO4s. Thank you. Thank you. You can put Classified in A. Classified does not need to be an S tier. Or is this like in comparison to like all those maps?
No, no. Where do you want them? Where do you want them?
But put Voyage realistically in like a low B. Let's actually rank these real quick. Voyage low B, 9 in like a high B or A, whichever one you feel like it's better fitting in.
I like Voyage more than 9.
But. Oh, I just think 9 has a lot more going on that, like, yeah, you can put in B. Blood's like a B or an A. I think Blood's closer to a B, but I know you like as an A, put it in A. Classified's a B. Dead of the Night, take that thing out of S tier right now. Put that in A. Get that thing out of S tier.
The Blood and Dead of the Night are S tiers. All right, so
Ancient Evil can stay in S tier. Alpha Omega, put that in like low C, almost a D tier. That map is carried by anything but its gameplay. And then Tog is like a high B or B. C, whichever one you feel like fits better in. Yeah, it's just like the quality of the maps across the board. It's like there's just more going. Obviously, these maps have more going on that like you fight against with. But like you need to talk about what point am I trying to make here? Like a lot of the BO4 maps, it's like they rank in similar places. A lot of maps, it's not a big tier list. Like, there's not a lot of places you can put these things. But overall, BO4 has a lot more going for it. It has it has bigger swings in the ideas that it wants to do. And I think that it accomplishes a lot more what it wants to do better than Cold War and BO6, which play their ideas a lot more safe and a lot more consistent.
I just want to say for the record, for people like doing tier lists and watching tier lists and stuff, it is really hard to rank a game in of itself and then also compare it to another game. Cause like if I'm doing Voyage versus Shattered Veil, like in my
my god, like, two different experiences.
Like Voyage is S tier compared to Shattered Veil, but they're both good maps, and in the context of their own game, like Shattered Veil is probably like an A or a like in my opinion an A or an S in the BO6 realm. But like it's so it is complicated, and you know, I put Origins like in my own opinion as like a B.
Yeah, whereas I would put Origins in an A. Yeah, like, you know, like, but then like, you know, how does Origins compare to Terminus? Like, I think Origins has way more going on than Terminus has. So it's like, you know, how do you rank these different elements interdependently of each other while also being the same? You know, you've got Zombies in Spaceland in the same tier list ranking as like, you know, Alpha Omega. Those two maps could not be farther apart in terms of like what they're trying to accomplish and what they do.
Yeah. I mean, and like for Origins, you know, I love the atmosphere, but I actually kind of am not a big gameplay guy, and I wish it had a boss fight. So it's like that kind of takes it down for me. But
then how do you rank that when, like, you know,
exactly
it came out before boss fights were even a thing? The first boss fight came out a year later with the breeder in Extinction.
Oh, I thought the first boss fight was in Advanced Warfare.
No, because Extinction came out before Advanced Warfare. So it was the Breeder, the Kraken, and then it was Oz. And then Treyarch's first ones were the Shadow Man, and technically the first real one is the DE Keeper, because the Shadow Man's more just like you just shoot him. It's not even like a health bar.
Yeah, and I also think that people misunderstand, like, just because I put Origins as a B versus Terminus as an A, would I probably rather spend more time in Origins? Yeah, I probably would. But that doesn't mean like the things that I like about Zombies. Like I'm trying to judge it accurately just because something's like, I love Alpha Omega, but I know it's lower on the BO4 ranking list. Like I get that.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's hard. It's hard, but I think
it's hard to,
this year's
these
been
are all
relatively
apples to
average.
oranges.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Relative. Yeah. These are all apples to oranges comparisons. Like you got, how do you rank MWZ as an entire game? It's the only one that you can't really rank as separately. So it's like one entire experience. How do you rank that against all of this?
Yeah. Well, we all know the truth, which is Terra Maledicta.
Dude, get Ancient Evil off of S tier. That's Terra Maledicta's tier. That's so, thank you. That's so true, dude.
Finally.
This is what Zombies players need to hear.
Exactly. The truth. We're red pilling everybody. Okay. Well, Mr. Stanley, I appreciate your time, your patience to go through all this information. I really just, like I said at the beginning, I wanted to put a bow on the BO6 season, start getting hyped for season 2 of the podcast with BO7 and whatnot. And obviously you're welcome back anytime. I thought we had a good conversation, and the Reckoning is an interesting experience. Not quite what I had hoped for, but it's the one we got and we're going to roll with it. So any final parting words?
Yeah. I hope that Zombies is able to push itself up to the next level again.
Me too.
I want to see that. I want to see Zombies just like go totally wild, and it feels like it's COD Zombies. It feels like it's its own experience.
It does feel like they're trying to do some different stuff. I mean, I feel like it's peaking out, you know, like I feel like they really do want to do that. So
exactly. Yep. Like it feels like, yeah, they're really close to doing it. And whether or not it's like development restrictions, whether or not it's just like personal choices in the development team, I think they have a lot more going on than I think people give them credit for. Most people online are like, these are the worst developers ever. What happened to the game series I love? Like, guys, let's be a little realistic here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but again, thank you for having me on. I appreciate
anytime.
it,
Anytime.
Always. Thank you, chat, for chat. Thank you, everyone in the audience, for just listening.
Yeah. Thank you, chat. We appreciate you being here. We're going to wrap things up. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you all in the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Bye.